There is overtraining. Oh yeah, I did an extra hour in my Saturday ride and I think I'm pretty overtrained now. I feel a little tired. And there is overtraining for real, guys. Oh my god, I can't sleep at night. I feel like my body's just, I literally am so angry at my mom because she put the salt shaker on the other side of the table and it made me unexplainably rage at her for no reason. I've been eating as much as I possibly can fit in my stomach, but my leg muscle is just withering away by the day. The word overtraining is bounced around within the cycling world like it's no problem. Yeah, this morning I woke up, I was a bit overtrained, whatever, it's all good. But guys, a lot of people don't know that overtraining syndrome is a real medical condition and extremely, extremely serious one at that. Lucky for most people, overtraining syndrome is not something they are ever going to experience in their life, even close. And why is that, guys? Because to arrive at such a state, you have to be an absolute first division bonehead like very few of us are. Like literally, if someone tells me that they were actually overtrained, I straight up am thinking like, wow, respect to you, because like I say, you have to be so stupid and ignore all these red signal signs that your body is telling you to get to that state. And that takes a level of dedication and suffering and commitment that very few people have. So I'm like, holy shit, you've actually been that far? Props to you, dog. I respect your commitment. To nobody's surprise, your boy Keegan is one of the few people that can actually say proudly, might I add, I'm just kidding, not proudly at all, but I can actually say that I have indeed been overtrained one time in my life. Guys, I'm going to take you through the story today, how it happened, what I did to get there, what I felt like when it was happening to me, and eventually how it got solved. Today, come with me, how overtraining syndrome literally landed me in the hospital, guys. So I take you guys back to 2014, the fall of 2014, a young 18-year-old Keegan Swirbul, at the time riding for Axel Merckx's Action cycling team, had just finished his first ever season on the road. And yeah, obviously my first year, tons of ups and downs, but the important thing was I saw glimmers, I saw moments where I was like, okay, maybe Keegan, you do have what it takes. It gave me the confidence, it gave me the hope that I had what it takes to continue fighting and work for my dream of becoming a world tour rider, a pro cyclist. So what did I think? I am going to outwork every motherfucker in the game this winter. I was committed to do everything that I possibly could. This was going to be the winter that I put in the work to take me to the next level. So there we are. We're starting our training after our rest period, end of October, about Halloween, we started back training. Training plan was really simple. After the 4-week break, I needed a bit of time to get adjusted. So we started off. The training plan literally went like this the entire winter. 2 hours a day, 6 days a week, with my heart rate between 145 beats per minute and 155 beats per minute, which, at the time, my max heart rate is well over 200. So that's my zone 2 right there, guys. Started 2 hours next week, 2.5 hours every day for 6 days a week next week, 3 hours a day every day, 6 days a week. Then the 4th week of the block would be a rest week where I would kind of go back down to the initial hours of the first week. So back down to 2 hours a day, 6 times a week. So yeah, literally, that's it. I did no intervals. I did nothing else. Just pure riding with my heart rate between 145 and 155 beats per minute. Each block was 4 weeks, right? So starting with 2.5, ending with 3, then back down to the recovery. Next block, 3.5, 4, 4.5, and then back down to 3.5. Next block, obviously 5, 5.5, 6, and then recovery. So you guys get the picture. Anyway, that's how I was training. So, dude, the first month of training, I'm starting to see better numbers, feeling amazing. I'm getting to mid-November, really, really cranking some watts. Pounding out these 4.5 hour rides 6 days a week. I'm out there living in Boulder, Colorado at altitude. I'm 143 pounds, skinny little boy, 18 years old. I'm out there mobbing every day, averaging 280, 290 watts, just ripping and I'm feeling better every day of the block. Often I'd feel the best on my 6th day of the training block. So I'm just feeling, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. Here I am, literally December. I'm riding this well. I'm feeling so good. Imagine how good I'm going to be when I start finally doing intervals, when I start doing the real hard trainings. Oh my God, I was so motivated. I was just an absolute obsession. I was so excited, so hyped. I just felt like I was going to just absolutely blow everyone's doors off in the next season. So there we are. I did my first 2 months of that training block in Boulder, Colorado. Like I say, at altitude. So for me to be going out and riding 290 average for 4 or 5 hours like that with my heart rate in that zone 2 zone, that was pretty impressive. You know, like I said, I'm a skinny boy. So guys, I do the first 2 blocks. I'm already doing 30 hours on the bike, you know, feeling tired, but really taking the work. Body's absorbing it really well. Feeling extremely confident. Now it was finally time to do the last block, which started, the first week of this last block started with 5.5 hours every day. So I'm, again, talking 5.5 hours, literally 6 days a week, you know? So I went down to my aunt and uncle's house in Arizona. Warmer weather, I didn't have to worry about the snow. I could just crank those hours. It was gonna be great, guys. So I go down there. I do the first week, the 5.5 hours a day block, feeling really good. I'm writing in my Training Peaks notes, some good positive notes, really having fun. A couple of notes where I'm saying, wow, heart rate's getting pretty low. Like I'm just really fit. Unbelievable this is. Let's move on to the second week. Starting to have a couple of comments on my Training Peaks like, man, bit of a weird sensation today, like just started, you know, a little tired in the legs, stale. But of course, I had a couple days during that week where I felt really good. And then a couple days where I was kind of starting to write some comments on my Strava. My Strava titles were like, wow, 2 bonks in 1 ride today. Like, wow, but crazy, great training. Also, you know, I'm doing 200K minimum every day this week. So I'm on to the second week, 6 hours a day. I'm starting to, you know, put some big miles in, just eating as much as I possibly could. Every day I'm burning minimum 6,000 kilojoules on the bike. Just unbelievable shit. I get to the end of that week where I was doing those 6 hours, still when I had, you know, 10 days left of this block where I was supposedly going to do the 6.5 hour a day block the next week. And I'm starting to have some weird stuff going on, you know. I'm starting to ride in my Training Peaks kind of every day. Bonking today, his legs felt really stale. Feeling ridiculously tired. Oh man, 2 bonks in my ride. Weird things like that. Bonking after stop to eat. And I'm going to put some of these comments, these screenshots of these comments that I wrote literally back in 2015 in January, early January 2015. Fast forward on to the last week. And now here's where I start getting into trouble. I'm starting to write into my Training Peaks notes that I can't sleep. I feel, quote, extremely exhausted, but I can't sleep. Again, all of a sudden, I'm recording my weight. Weight is dropping like crazy. I went out and met one of these days with my teammate. His name was Daniel Eaton. He's a great guy. I went out and rode with him, and I remember he was telling me, like, dude, like, you look just skeletal. And that week where I was doing these 6.5 hour rides, yeah, that was when every single day I'm writing in my Training Peaks. Oh my God, feel horrible. Can't stop bonking. I stopped and I ate 2 bags of Haribo gummies and immediately started bonking afterwards right again, meaning something really strange was going on in my body. You know, if I'm not able to take in these sugars, something extremely weird was happening. I'm writing that my heart rate is on the floor, that I'm struggling to keep my heart rate above 145, and I'm literally going out there averaging like 35, 36K an hour on these rides. So I'm probably riding, actually during this week, I didn't have a power meter, unfortunately. So I'm riding off pure heart rate, but you know, it's likely that I was riding at average 290, close to 300 watts, literally for 6.5 hours every day. But yeah, like I say, I'm writing everyday comments that are just like, coach, like, what do I do? Like, yikes, I feel pretty freaking bad here. I can't sleep. I'm feeling horrible. One day I even went out and I rode 15 minutes and I decided to turn around because I felt really, really horrible, which was in hindsight pretty smart. Anyway, the warning signs that I was going down a bit of a bad path, we can say. Early January now, and I had my team training camp with Action, which again is the team of Axel Merckx, son of the legendary pro cyclist Eddie Merckx. And we had organized our training camp for like mid-January that week in another Arizona town called Tucson. So that was great. Feeling pretty bad, and I decided one day to call him up and kind of tell him what was going on, chat a bit, explain how training was going. And I remember, never forget this, he when I told him that I was literally riding 40 hours a week and stuff, and like that I was maybe feeling a little tired, I remember he told me, like, dude, I've never, literally, quote, he had never done in his entire career a training week more than 28 hours. This is a guy that has finished top 10 in the Tour de France. He finished third in the Olympic road race. Humongously talented rider. And he was like, dude, like, the fuck are you doing? He didn't say that, obviously, but it was, yeah, I understood the message. But that time it was too late. So I'm starting to kind of panic, take a few days off, I go down to Tucson, and we do our training camp. Oh my God, absolutely horrible. Every single day in my training peaks, I'm writing notes, panicking, writing my coach. Oh my God, this is a fucking disaster. Shit. But then the funny thing was, the very last day of the training camp, we kind of did a little race up this climb called Gates Pass. It's like a 5-minute climb. Anyway, for whatever reason, I felt good that day. After 10 days of just horrendous body, the worst sensations ever, that day I felt good. Turns out we ended up racing up that climb. It was kind of like the camp race to test everyone and see who was really good or whatever. It happens in every cycling camp. I won the little race. I did 500 watts up the climb. I was like, oh, great. This is freaking sweet. We're all on track. Like, all that overtraining fear clearly was just a bad little patch there. No worries, right? So I go back up to Colorado out of the training camp. We're getting into kind of February, and I'm every day again, the same notes in training peaks, not really able to do my training, feel terrible. And like, obviously, you're talking about the most hyper motivated, obsessed with cycling dream person on the planet at this time. So the fact that I literally would go out and not do my training because I felt too smashed, that's a good sign that something was up. I'm complaining every day about I can't sleep. I feel like spacey in my head. I'm writing my notes in my training peaks. Like I said, my mom has this great story. She's like, you're just angry all the time. And she has this story where one time I sat down to eat and the salt shaker was on the other side of the table. And I was like, I erupted at her because she had moved the salt shaker or something like that. Like, I was so irritable. I was just really in a bad state. In February, when I'd go out training, my heart, it would just be on the floor. It was doing weird things, and then like all of a sudden I'd do a sprint and it would literally go up like 30 beats. Just weird things that I'd never ever experienced before. Anyway, I'm at the point now where I'm like, okay, this is really bad. The season's coming up. I didn't start racing until maybe March, April. I wasn't going to race that year, so I had a bit of time, but I'm thinking, geez, okay, here we are, February. I'm literally in a body bag. I got to do something. Went to see the doctor. The doctor did some tests on me. Blood came back. There were some big abnormalities in there, and the doctor was concerned because he made me like do a bunch of farther tests to see if something else was the matter with me. Again, it wasn't like a sports doctor. It was someone. These doctors, obviously they're incredibly knowledgeable, but they don't see a case like this very often. They're like, okay, well, what the fuck? Like, you're probably healthy. Like, you're a young guy. You ride your bike. Like, what the hell is going on here? It's quite misunderstood, this whole concept of overtraining. Did a bunch more blood tests, got the reviews back, and the guy called me and was like, dude, like, these blood values are something's really weird. This is my mom's kind of freaking out. Like, this is bad, blah, 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 etc. Bad scenario. I've been feeling just like dog shit for a good 2.5 months, right? I'm trying to train a little bit, but I just can't do it. My body just straight up is not allowing me. I just can't even go on my bike and do an effort, really. Like, I could go on my bike and get my heart rate up, but I'd just be horrible, and my body just would not respond. I'm just tired, fatigue, weird other shit that was happening in my life and to my body. Eventually, what happened, this was kind of a blessing in disguise. I went out one day, this must have been like March of 2015. I went out one day, started doing some intervals up this climb in Lyons, Colorado. And it was a gravel climb. And I remember when I came home from that gravel climb, there was a little pain in my knee. A couple days later, still there, it's getting worse, the pain. Ended up totally fucking me. Had to take 2.5 months literally on the couch trying to solve this, trying all the conservative therapies. Ended up having to get a cortisone injection to calm down what was called a plica, which was a bad knee injury that I had. Took me off the bike for 2.5 months. I literally did no exercise for 2.5 months. Came back, started training again. I'll never forget this again. The first day that I came back training, that I got the go-ahead from the doctor after the cortisone injection in the knee to go back on my bike, I felt amazing on my bike. Literally, after not having biked for 2.5 months. Imagine that. Like, you take 2.5 months on the couch, you lose all your fitness, all of it. Every single ounce of fitness that you had, you lose it in 2.5 months of non-exercise. But I felt amazing. Why? This is literally what happened. I overtrained myself to such a degree. I gave myself such an mind-blowing training load for those couple of months where I was doing that insane, stupid training that it literally required my body 2.5 months of rest to absorb that training and return to a healthy state. So that is my overtraining story, guys. Don't go there. And I know you won't, because like I say, now when I look back on these comments that I've made in my training things, like it literally almost, it does make me laugh. Like, it's hilarious how stupid I was. Literally, here I am 8 days in a row writing, wow, can't stop bonking on these training rides. Like, oh my God, I can't sleep. Or, oh my God, my leg muscles are so skinny all of a sudden. Like, just, I cannot believe that I was that stupid. That is my story, guys, with overtraining. Again, this is a real serious thing, and it can happen to other people without doing crazy training like I was doing. If you have other life stresses, if you're training and you're a full-time worker and you have a family, that combination can be a dangerous one. And when it comes to overtraining, in this actual example, I overtrained myself purely off training because I was doing all the recovery. I was literally doing nothing else. I would bike and then sit on my ass on the couch watching TV. I was, I barely even made food because I was living with my parents at the time. They'd make my food for me when I was down in the training camp in Arizona. Food's being made for me. I was just biking and recovering. So yeah, I did actually overtrain myself purely off training, which is very hard to do. Like I say, I don't expect anyone who's ever watching this video to ever do that, because you have to be an absolute bonehead like no one else. So anyways, guys, that is my story of overtraining. Definitely won't ever go there again because that was not fun. So yeah, anyways, guys, hope you had a fun time watching that story. Don't let yourself get overtrained. You're not gonna have a good time. Shoot me that like, guys, if you enjoyed my story. Hope it was entertaining for some of you guys who want to watch me doing stupid shit and hear about my stories of my own stupidity. Peace out, guys. Thanks for watching.